Welcome everyone to this third B2B Frontrunner session. We're very excited to be here today, but while everyone is dropping into the session, we have a quick news article for us to share with you. So 2 weeks ago, new updates have been announced to ChatGPT, which are very exciting. They have been rolling out new voice and image capabilities, which are included within the conversation in ChatGPT. So people will now be able to have a voice-to-voice conversation with ChatGPT, and they can also upload images with which they can get help or get answers about or get context about. The examples they have shown are very impressive and show some very good potential. For example, you can ask your kids to tell ChatGPT a bedtime story to them. So you can ask, all right, tell me a nice bedtime story, and then ChatGPT will start a conversation. But what the good thing is that you can also adapt the story and also talk back. So whenever you want to know more about the person in the story, for example, you can just ask, tell me a bit more about this, and ChatGPT will give an according answer. And then the other thing is that you can upload images. So whenever you need help, for example, with fixing your bike, you can upload a picture of your bike and say, I need help with fixing my bike, and ChatGPT will tell you which screw to tighten or which cable to adjust, whatever you need. So this will have a significant impact on the way we have conversations. So for example, with these tools, this really proves that we can have more personal conversations, we can include more things, and really start talking to these tools as well. Which also perfectly ties in within the session topic of today, which is enhancing B2B e-commerce with highly personalized experiences. And with that, I also want to welcome you to the session of today. We have some very exciting guest speakers for you, very interesting topics, so let's get started right away with the agenda. So on the agenda today, we first have the topic introduction by Arjen from Customer Journey Experts. Then we have Wunderman Thompson, Contentful and Isero, who are going to tell their story about personalization. We have a very interesting use case by Motul, and then we have two Intershop experts who are going to share their light on the topic of today. So with that, let's get started right away, and I want to pass the floor to Arjen.
Thank you, Jill. Today we're going to do a presentation on or a session about personalization, and I want to start with why is that so important? Why is personalization so important? Well, simply because 71% of the people think it is important and expect actually personalized experiences. These are B2C figures, but as we already discussed in the previous sessions, the expectations of B2B customers are no different because they are the B2C customers in their private life. So 71% expects a personalized experience. 71% of the retailers expect that they do a good job, but only 34% of the consumers think so. So there's a big discrepancy between the actual expectation and the actual experience of customers and that what the industry is thinking. And there's a reason for that. There is a 39% of the companies say they struggle to implement personalization technology. And based on our benchmark experience, that is a pretty prosperous idea, because in our experience we see that that struggle is even bigger. At the same time, companies also state that they're having 50% of the companies say that they have trouble generating the data and get a clear 360 view on customers based on data. And this is only the beginning. What we see is that AI is really going to have impact, just like Jill already in the introduction with the ChatGPT example exhibited, is that AI is going to change the way people interact with companies. And there's a lot to do about AI, and there's a lot written about it and about the enormous potential. In reality, it is still a struggle to get that up and running. But the changes that will come based on ChatGPT-like chatbots and conversational technology and AI is enormous. If you look just at this ChatGPT example, and I hope you all use ChatGPT in your work and your private life to gain the experience on how that works. But you get human-like answers, but you can also adjust the tone. You can describe what kind of answer you want. So the experience you get from a ChatGPT chatbot is far different than what we experience today. And actually the major change is that it is becoming a conversation. It is no longer searching for information. It is getting answers in a human-like style, and that is part of a far bigger technology development. It's not only speech technology, it's not only large language models, it's not only generative AI, it is also the point where we get to real personalized experience, not only online, but also through IoT in all our other devices. And the next step will be with quantum computing, that those answers, that real personal experience is even further enhanced and further aggregated in speed. So this will have a tremendous impact, and that is quite challenging for the most companies, because if you look at this index, the vertical axis says that reflects the quality of the interaction, the horizontal axis the level of channel integration, and the size of the dots reflects the level of personalization we see. And all those gray dots stuck in the middle are most companies. And the ones at the right-hand top side, the Amazons, the Walmarts, the Zalandos, the Albert Heijn in the Netherlands, are creating a bigger and bigger distance towards the rest, because they are really customer-centric and they're really data-oriented. And if you look at the examples of, for instance, Amazon, and see what kind of personalization happens in their site. And this is a B2B site that actually shows what orders are delivered, what are still pending on delivery, or what the suggestions are. This entire page is filled with data that is based on the behavior, the ordering behavior, and the personality of the buyer, and it also invites you to invite other staff members to participate. Also, if you've got a car and you're running a business and drive a car, if you enter your car details, it will update and show only stuff that you need for that car. Replacements and so on. That is all based on the underlying data. So if you click through on that, you see that what really is the magic behind all Amazon does is the way they structure the data, and that is aggregated in a very consumer-friendly way. That's also the reason why they do these things. Get your information in order to serve you better, get a more complete image of who you are, what you like, and in this case, what your sizes and color preferences are. It's not only Amazon. I like this example very much. Anybody who has kids knows that with a handful, it is interesting to text for your diapers and get your toddler in clean pants. Here I want to take a step and show a video that even shows where this is fed by things like ChatGPT, how that will change the way we interact with our customers. What you see in this example made by Work & Co, a partner of ours, is that they explored what will happen if you start talking to people and have a conversation rather than asking people to understand the click patterns and the click structure you created. Here people can talk to their site either through voice or text or through images. They can go back to previous conversations, and actually it becomes quite a different experience. And that opens new opportunities for businesses. Instead of being stuck in the process of not being able to personalize, all these new technologies have the potential to help you overcome the traditional issues and make a giant leap forward. It are these technologies, it's generative AI, large language models, conversational technologies that will really change the way we interact. And that also requires that we revise our vision on customer journeys. We like to see customer journeys as a very linear process. That's not the customer perspective, however. This is what you would like a business to be, the journey. In reality, it is this. Customers go back and forth, and customers are not on a journey. They are looking to fulfill a goal. They've got an objective. For instance, selecting and comparing a product. And at that point, they do that not only at your side, but also at competitor A, B, C, and they're also talking to their peers and to understand what choices to make. And they do that on all channels where they are in front of or they want to use at that particular point in time, and they do it cross-channel. It is not a simple process, a simple linear process. They expect a personalized experience at every interaction point. Either a selection, or if they already know what they want to order it direct and pay it in your checkout based on their profile. So what it really requires is that you understand who your customer is, what their needs are, what the condition of that customer is. Is it a first-time visitor with far different needs in the same step of the process than a returning customer, where you already have a lot of data and already understand their preferences. This entire process is driven by content that can be adjusted to that specific customer at that specific interaction point, driven by business rules that help that customer and present the content that is relevant at that point in time for that specific customer based on the current intent of that customer. Of course, that requires underlying technology, the integration in your system so that there is a 360-degree vision on your customer, that all the content assets are available based on data. Only at that point you can create a scalable solution and provide intelligent customer interaction at scale. Today we're going to talk about how that works, how companies like Motul, Isero, with the help of Wunderman and Wunderman Thompson and Contentful, are providing solutions like this in their business today as a starting point to bring that much further and to get to real intelligent customer interaction for that matter. These slides are just part of a video which you can watch at my site, where you can get a full picture of what it takes to deliver intelligent customer interaction. Today we've got a magnificent program with fantastic speakers, and we're going to be very practical on how do you start and how can you use Intershop technology to make your first steps into this world of intelligent customer interaction.
Well, thanks a lot, Arjen. And I think your examples really show and stress that some companies are really setting the stage when it comes to personalization, and not just within B2C, but also already in B2B, which we see with Amazon Business. So that also brings us to the next speakers, which is Jaap from Wunderman Thompson. I think he's going to show us what really makes, or how you can really deliver those personalized experiences and what kind of strategies you can use for those. And after that, we will talk with Arjen from Isero, who's going to tell us how they put it into practice at Isero. Sorry, Jaap, you have to turn on your microphone. We can't hear you.
Dit is?
Jaap. All right, so we have some small technical issues, but we're working on it. So as I want to mention as well, I forgot to mention it in the beginning, but if you have some questions for our guest speakers, you can just post them in the chat, or if there's anything that you want to say or talk about related to the topic, then we either get back to you in the Q&A moments or handle them in the SharePoint. But I think we have audio now.
Yes, I think I missed one of the buttons to press. Is it okay like this? Yes, I think so. Well, we got it all working. So technology always remains a challenge if it's a webinar or personalization at scale. So really great to be here. Thank you for your time, and let's dive into in how we use technology to personalize customer experience. And to us, it's really about not just going from in-person to personalization for B2B, right? Which used to be a very in-person way, and we really want to have a layer of personalization on top of it, so the in-person sales representative can spend their time on the interactions that really add value, and customers can service themselves in pre-sales, during sales, throughout the whole life cycle with a personalized and consistent experience. So what we do at Wunderman Thompson, we help companies to build profitable long-term relationships with their customers at scale. We strongly believe that in these times, it's crazy expensive to acquire new customers and also to onboard them and to really make them valuable over a long period of time. If you pay like 5 or 10 euros on a click on AdWords, then basically every customer that comes in is, when it starts, might even be a loss maker. So how can you engage with your customers and make it a long-term relationship that's profitable for your customers, but also for your organization? And we do that through the delivery of a consistent, personalized experience. In our strategic framework, we service that customer experience all the way from reaching out to new customers, so that demand generation, to converting them to a first-time sale, onboarding them all the way to loyalty, and also win back sleeping customers to get them back into the loop, into our ecosystems of sales and service. Focusing on customer lifetime value, because as I just stated before, at the beginning of a customer engagement, it might be that a customer is still, well, if you look at it from a business case of that one single customer, it's a bit of a loss maker because you need to invest, need perhaps to give a bit of promotion. How can we get those customers valuable for a longer term period of time? To do that, we build all kinds of use cases or tactics throughout the customer journey, and we want to make them consistent through all the touch points that they reach. So whatever happens when you reach out to a person via WhatsApp, customer service, email, the website, paid channels, performance channels, we want to make sure that every person has a consistent experience that fits their situation, their context, and also the relationship that you have as a brand with those with your customers. So for today, I want to talk a bit about a personalization strategy, because you cannot just dive into personalization without a proper plan. Then I go into the foundational stuff, which is typically segmentation. It's not the case that you can just connect ChatGPT to your tech stack and just magic happens and everything gets relevant and personalized through all the touch points. You need to have a strategic framework in place, and to our experience, segmentation is the foundation. I will go a bit more in detail on the maturity level, because once you have your segmentation strategy in place, you want to grow the maturity and really be relevant with your product promotions, your product recommendations, the channel shifts that you want to make to your customers, and then move to one of the big bottlenecks we see at customers, and that is content. Content stuck in silos, not suited to really being spread across all those channels to offer the consistent experience. So, personalization strategy. If you look back in time, then of course, in the old days, communication was really one-to-all. Like everybody the same TV commercial, everybody the same brochure, everybody the same DM. And then we moved to a world what was a bit more audience-centric. So you have, for example, you have different sectors in place for your customers. Might be hospitals versus retail versus manufacturers in a certain industry, and everybody who falls in one of those segments, you have a one-to-many way of personalizing the interactions, which is a bit more granular, but still not really suited to the specific customer at hand. So we want to move to what I call Melanie-centric. This might be Melanie. How can we put her centric in the interaction, near real time, one-to-one, relevant with every channel that she interacts with? Because yes, on the right-hand side, of course, you can personalize the homepage with relevant product recommendations or content from your blog. You can personalize the blog, search results, the product detail page, the cart cross and upsell, and so on. But of course, also the other channels, like what happens in the chat. If you have like omni-channel, you have a store, how can you personalize the experience over there? If they call the sales reps or the call center, the email, social media, and so on. You'd like to orchestrate this all with Melanie at the center and be relevant for her regardless which channel she interacts with. So in order to do so, we take our customers through like multiple stages on that personalization strategy. And it consists of basically of two parts. On the left-hand side is the strategy planning, and the right-hand side is the execution planning. The execution, do I have the data? How do I unlock it? Do I have the content? How can I leverage it for each channel? And on the strategy part is, why should I personalize at all? What's the business case? To whom? Where? Which channel? When should it be triggered? What should the messaging be? So on the left-hand side is the strategy thinking, where you basically start defining your use cases, which were those purple blocks a couple of slides ago in the customer experience, and then define, based on your business challenge, what kind of tactics to which segment or which one-to-one person you'd like to personalize. And at the foundation lies, of course, the business challenges. Why should I personalize? And when we make plans with our customers at the beginning of the year, these are typical business challenges that they face, right? They like to increase repeat buyers by whatever percentage, or increase the upsell, or reduce time to resolution for call center agents. So this is really generic business challenges that customers have. And with each of those business challenges, personalization typically has a way to be put in the customer journey in order to really push the needle, the KPIs within those business results. So customers expect personalization. 71% of the customers in research says, yeah, I want to have a personalized experience, and are frustrated when I don't get it. But I only want to focus a bit more on the right-hand side of what comes from this study. It really shows bottom line impact. 10 times improvement in conversion rates are figures that are generally seen within certain sectors. Improvements in revenue per visitors, and also improvements in average order value. If you really can see if you can do an extra cross-sell or push somebody into another category to really extend the product range that you sell to your customers. So business first, why should I do it? What are my challenges? And then you come to more detailing out your segmentation framework. When I talk to customers, I say, great news, you already have customers. But hey, perhaps you have in certain categories or sectors, you have like inactive customers. They're really not really profitable. They only buy in promotion. they use expensive sales channels, have lots of questions. Hopefully you also have typically 60% active profitable customers who do an occasional order, perhaps a medium average order value. You're basically making money, which is great stuff. And you got your highly active, highly profitable, let's call it VIP customers that really make the difference in your bottom line. So when you think about segmentation, we really want to take first a customer base and then build a segmentation model based on your customer base to see, can we identify which customers are your top buyers? Who are your promising potential? So customers who just placed one order and perhaps we are able to upsell them to a top buyer. Who are your promo buyers or your wardrobers? So people who only buy when there's a discount or free delivery or a sample to get. And of course, lots of customers have lapsing and dormant customers, sleeping customers in the database who haven't ordered for 2 years. What can we do in order to let them re-engage again with us as a brand? So this might be a segmentation model based on purchase behavior, return rate, promo rate, really leveraging what did they order and how many costs did we make in order to service that customer. So customer lifetime value based. And then you need to build a strategy. How can we get more promising potentials in there? What are the tactics that we'd like to have in place? How are we going to upsell a promising potential to a top buyer? Perhaps send them a coupon to buy something in a more high value category, or see if we can get that person to visit one of our physical locations or our experience center, because we know that when they visit a physical location, we can really maximize the money that we make on that segment. So these are mini strategies within those segments. And in each of those strategies, you can involve tactics like the call center agents to do an outbound call, CRM with email marketing, onboarding and welcome journeys to really nurture new customers. You can push audiences to paid channels in order to see if you can find them on LinkedIn to continue the conversation and to really wake them up again and get them into your ecosystem. So a segmentation model with also the tactics, how do you like people to flow within these segments, is key. And then within all those tactics, of course, you can personalize the messaging. You can have you can do product recommendations based on browser behavior, previous purchase behavior. Do like inspirational content if it's needed in order to get a promising potential to become a top buyer, and tailor that inspirational content to the data you have available of that segment. So basically, it's about get a segmentation plan in place to make steps on the maturity model for personalization. And that maturity model, in our view, consists of two basic axes. Let's first start at the bottom. The bottom left, the axis is moving from a one-to-all approach, everybody the same homepage, everybody the same category listing, everybody the same cross and upsell, to a more segmented or even life cycle approach, to sense and respond and all the way completely individualized. So that's basically within one single channel, personalize as much as possible. But I was saying, you want to give them a consistent experience in each channel. So you want to connect to your B2B portal. You want to connect also the behavior and have the same product recommendations in your email or in a sales call, or when they visit the store and within the recommendation within your point of sale system. So then you also need to move on the standing axis. So moving on those axes, that's is basically the steps that you need to take in order to go from just a customer touch point, which is personalized, to a more personalized customer journey, to a really fully customized, personalized customer experience across all channels, relevant to the person at hand. And then, of course, you need to think, well, am I first going to move on within my single channel, my commerce platform? When do I go up and connect the second channel? So this is the strategy planning that you need to do upfront in order to see if you go more to the upwards and then to the right, or first optimize your Intershop experience at single channels, and then connect the behavior data of a second channel and personalize also the data in that second channel. So do the channel coordination improvements. Well, when we take our clients on this journey, then we see that some brands typically they get stuck here. This is where stuff becomes really complex. Have behavior data from multiple systems to personalize the experience in multiple channels. So web, email, point of sale. So that brings me a bit to the topic of today, content as data. Because when as in the introduction stated, of course you want to have a single customer view, so that you know and what should I serve that customer for a product, or promo, or inspirational content. But of course you also need to have your content available in each channel and be really flexible with that. And that's where we see that brands face challenges. They typically have a lack of the right knowledge internally. So it's also not just about technology, it's also about culture and skills and way of working. But over 22% of the companies have poor or useless data. So it's stuck in a silo. For example, content is stuck in the content management system and we cannot get it into the app of the sales rep. or it's stuck in a PIM, or the PIM information is not really in place. So how can we get it into the website and also do recommendations during a sales call? And of course, there might also be budget restraints, because the C-level is not really aligned with the ambitions of the channels to really move from in-person to personalization, also for the digital channels. Because next to having a plan, next to be aligned across departments and have the people and the skills in place, it's also about connecting data sources towards channels. So when you look at the technology, you want to have on the left-hand side, you have your data collection channels to build that single customer view on web, on mobile, on email, advertising, and customer service. You have your experience. For commerce, it is Intershop. For content, Contentful. Your product information might be in a PIM. And also those enterprise systems. And all that data needs to feed a decision engine, for example, like Sparque, who based on both business rules, but also on AI to optimize towards the KPI that you set. So the KPI that I mentioned in the beginning of my talk, a KPI that's set to pushing average order value, or re-engaging sleeping customers, or a KPI that says I want to switch more people towards digital channels, or let them buy into multiple categories. So those KPIs. And then the AI algorithm starts to optimize product recommendations, content optimizations, the messaging, and when message should be triggered across all those touch points. So it's the more data you connect on the left side to a single decision engine, who then can via API personalize the experience on the channels on the right. Those are basically the three pillars that you need to have in place to go beyond that point where personalization gets tough. And from a content point of view, you also need to have a new view on how you should handle content. Content is not just a piece of paper with a blog post somewhere in a content management system. No, it's about granular pieces of content. So for example, a product detail page, it might consist of a headline, an image, a price, a teaser, and to us those are all small Lego blocks. And some of those Lego blocks you need to build something on the web. Some you won't use in your app, or you will use them, but in different order. And you should also be ready to move to new touch points like portals, or hey, in the future, the Apple Vision Pro, when that hits the streets. Well, how can we get that content as well there? And that those kind of channels all have their own context of use. So all will have their own requirements on how they want to receive that content and how it should be served in a user-friendly manner. So it's about content and it's about context. So for example, if you have your content for the specific page, you might have in your content repository of Contentful, you might have a header, a long introduction, a lifestyle image, the definition of the solution, your products that you'd like to sell, a video that explains it, and the FAQs. And this is in this context, which might be your e-commerce environment, where you want to inspire people, but also drive a bit of cross-sell towards other categories. In this context, this is the content that you'd like to push towards a consistent experience and also tailor it to the person at hand. In another digital channel, you also need a header. For example, in this kiosk, which might be in your physical store. But you don't want a long description because people don't read a kiosk. It needs to be a short description, but you want to use the same video, which is already stored. So here you see that your content model should be flexible to really push it to all different kind of channels, not just the web, but also channels that you want to connect to your ecosystem in the future. You know, the third pillar that I shown in your tech stack, or in your point of sale system, where you also want those product and services, obviously, but also the FAQs to have a proper sales conversation that also drives, guides the people at the other side of the counter. If people are logged in, you can also personalize this based on the single customer view. So, wrapping it all up, why structured content? If you want to personalize, go from one-to-all to segmented to one-to-one communication, you want to have granular pieces of content. And if you want to use it in multiple channels, so go the axis upwards of the maturity model, that content should be fluent. You need to be able to reuse it in channels. And if you open up new channels, you should be easy to, with low cost, to connect it, adapt the content to the requirement of that specific channels. Of course, it's all about having a plan in place. There we see always 3 work streams in our personalization playbook. having a strategy in place towards the new way of working, a tactical work stream, build new use cases, to start with baby steps into the world of personalization, and of course to run and operate on a daily basis, get everything in the hands of the e-commerce team to optimize that personalized experience across all touchpoints. This wraps it up from my end. So let's see how Isero, one of our great clients, used personalization and content to take the next step in their e-commerce offering.
All right, so thank you so much, Jaap, for your very interesting and elaborate presentation. And I think as you already introduced perfectly clear, we're now going to see at Isero how they've put it into practice, and going to go to Erwin.
Okay, thank you for having me. I will start my presentation. Let's see. Okay, my name is Isero. I'm responsible for all business which is generated through our digital applications. That will mostly be the website and our app. 40 years old. I'm busy with giving our customers the same online experience if they experience offline. That's our biggest goal. My iPhone is getting. Yes. Isero BV is part of the Crafton Group PLC. We are a technical wholesale partner for iron merchantry and construction products with a high level of customer service and a high level of customer personalization, especially offline at this moment. And we do want to have that online as well. And our main customers are B2B customers, which are in construction, renovation, maintenance. And specialized in hinges and locks, tools, iron merchantry, and fasteners. We have at this moment more than 67 branches and over 850 employees in the Netherlands. And we are all through the Netherlands from Friesland to Limburg. What are our customers? Construction companies, maintenance companies, housing associations, electricians and plumbers, and all from a sole trader to companies with over 3,000 full-time personals, but also hospitals, schools, and the Dutch IRS is a customer of us as well. As you can see, we've got a highly different kind of customers with all specific needs. And that's why personalization is very important for us, because if we do have a general website, it doesn't fit to all our customers. And they all have specific needs. A head buyer from, for example, Volker Wessels, have very different needs than a construction of a carpenter, which is driving in his van all day. They only need to buy several products, and a head buyer wants to see our personalization tools, our all the extras we can see to those customers. And the product planner, for example, he's more interested in the delivery information and our services and the product information. And then also we have the construction site managers and the workmen. They all have different needs, and we cannot just do it with one need anymore. I think it's what. So, I'm getting too quick, I think. So, what would be our goal? It's to give every person the information they want and when they need it. So, if a carpenter lands on our page, he is mostly interested in the products he needs to buy. But if a carpenter, which has his own company, he also is interested in our services. So we're gonna start segmenting and also how they land. How? Yeah, by using all our different e-commerce applications. And That's at this moment, where do we stand now? We are working on Intershop. Our ERP system is Microsoft Dynamics, which stands in connection with Intershop and Sparque. That's our first part of personalization. We are doing a product recommendation and upsells, which goes from data, which from our sales of point data, Microsoft Dynamics, which goes to Sparque and to Intershop, and from Sparque to Intershop. Also, we started off with Contentful for our personal content. But this is not where we want. Contentful is only connected to Intershop at this moment. We also have Prodexa, which is our PIM system, which also is connected to Intershop from one side. And we've got the Deploytech, that's our marketing automation program, which is also connected to Intershop forward and backward, and to Microsoft Dynamics, but not to Sparque, not to Contentful, and not to Prodexa. So there are a lot of opportunities for us to reconnect them. So we are already using it to fill our cross-sells and upsell suggestions, and for region and customer-specific assortments. Where do we use that? We have some specific products which are only available in the North region. So someone from Limburg should not see them. And also for the customer-specific assortments that are products with logos and anything. Currently, we're working on a personalized product recommendation in our newsletter. So that's the connection to our marketing automation program, Sparque, the website, and our ERP system, but also to Contentful, that they land on the right pages which are made in Contentful. For the product recommendation on the home cart and on the homepage and in the cart. So we want to more personalize our action products which are on sale. If someone who always buys Makita products, it's a brand which we sell, and they are getting our sales promotions from the vault, we are sure they are not interested. But if we send them the right products on our homepage, then we will be sure they are getting connected, and they will go through our website more, and they are more eager to buy. And connecting our CRM data. So, okay, how many persons do work there? What are their roles? What are their things? And more depth in personalization. And all those things is like, if you do that manually, it's time consuming, it's subjective, and it's static. And if we do that through AI, which we are using mostly Sparque for that, it's a one-time investment, reflection of a customer behavior, and it's more self-learning. As we can see, we started off with Sparque 2 years ago, and the responses with just tweaking some things are so much better now than they were before. What are our goals at this moment? Fulfilling the user personal needs and act to them. So, okay, what is the need of every user instead of every customer? Because the customer can have a different kind of users, like the CEO, the buyer, but also the carpenter, which is working for them. Create a customer communication center for all our customers with applications, also a non-Intershop application, like we have. For example, EBMS is to buy work clothing with points or anything, or to get your emergency certified. And we all want to start that on our Intershop base, like they start over there and see what in the morning they can open our Intershop page and see what's happening for them today. So all relevant content for all our customers, like information about the door close is not relevant for a plumber. They are totally not interested. Information about stores which we open or reopen in Brabant is not relevant for our customers in Friesland. So why do we want to show that to them? That has no reason. And what do we want? We want to connect the dots. Start simple. That's one thing that we always do. Start simple with customer segments. And then once we utilize that, we have to make it more personal on a customer level and even later on user-specific data. So let's start with the plumbers and then our customers, and later on the workers within the customers. So be sure we've got the segments right, okay? Then go deeper, and at last we go to the deepest. Working together with our sales representatives to make them also promoters. They have to promote our personalization so that they get the benefits when the customer has the personalization and they can start using it. And then after that, it will look like that. You can see all the dots are connected to Intershop, but also to each other. So if we have new products in Prodexa, they should go to Sparque. Sparque should connect them with, okay, this is a new product, which we know from Dynamics is important for a plumber. So if we send a plumber a newsletter from DeployTech, it has to be seen. But if the plumber is coming to our website, we want to place that product inside. And if we have some other product which is not relevant for the plumber, we don't want to use this at all, but just show them the right product also. And as you can see, it are all different databases. Like, for example, DeployTech is really used for a CRM database together with in Dynamics. Contentful will be our content database, which must be connected to those both, because from DeployTech you can go to content which is created in Contentful, or to products which are created in Prodexa and which Sparks all add together. Yes, for our tips, which we are running through is invest, include, and test, and do that all over again. Invest in time to build the logics, because if you want to go too fast, you won't get promoters. And everybody says like, okay, that's strange. I'm not expecting that, because our business is quite conservative. They are not always, but they are in movement, and you can see they are getting from conservative to expecting other things in the near future. Also include sales and users in the understanding and needs. Always connected to our customers, but also to our sales representatives, because eventually I cannot see all the customers. They have to sell it for us, and the website has to sell it for them. That's always. And test your results with internal experts before you go to the external experts.
Well, thanks a lot to you as well, Erin, for your presentation. It's very interesting to see how you're putting it into practice at Isero. And I think both you and Jaap have explained it perfectly clear. There are no questions for the Q&A, but we do have one here in the studio. So.
Yeah, Erwin. I've got a question for you. What is the biggest challenge in your strategy and in deploying your strategy? What is the most challenging bit in your opinion?
To get all the data right, because we started off with different data pools, and not all the data is very clear to everybody. So we have to start with collecting the right data. For example, our ERP CRM system is like in the past, nobody was needed to add a email address, or some names are coming all over again. For product data, we have more than 250,000 products. So to have those product data and the sales data and all together, that's the biggest challenge for us.
Okay, and then just one short other question. If you look at all these developments in ChatGPT and the way they can provide information and services, and where do you expect to be Isero in 3 to 5 years time if you look at those developments?
We definitely gonna use ChatGPT, but I think we're gonna be we need to use ChatGPT to be a front runner, and also to get our shop people get inspired by it, because there's a lot of knowledge in ChatGPT we don't know yet. And we are also going to use it to to get documentation into ChatGPT, so our sales representative can ask some questions to them. So it will be a more personalized, a more a question and answering machine, I think, in the future, in 3 or 5 years.
All right, thank you so much. And I think this promises an interesting future. And I'm looking forward to see what you're going to do with all the new technologies and what's going to happen. So now we're going to another use case, which is Motul. So I want to introduce Julia, who's going to tell us a little bit about how they implemented personalization at Motul. Julia?
No, sorry.
Oh, I think we're here.
Hi,
now.
everyone.
Yeah.
You can hear me well now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, I can still hear my echo. Maybe it's just me. All right, then let me introduce myself. My name is Julia Molsh, and I'm head of digital Motul. Today I will be glad to present to you our digital transformation strategy and what and how we plan to do in B2B platform in terms of personalization. So Motul is a French international lubricant company, and we are famous to produce premium quality oil. And I'm trying to move on to the next slide, and I'll see if it's working. It's working, fine. We are famous to produce premium quality oils for all types of vehicles. We distribute our oils within a network of B2B professionals, B2B and B2B2C, garages, resellers, distributors, and importers around the world. And we are having #1 market share for motorcycle lubricants. We're also famous to be general sponsors for racing events like MotoGP and Le Mans. And clearly, we are facing this challenge to have this shift to electric vehicles. That means that our company is looking for opportunities in diversification, and Motul in 2030 will continue to be strong in its core business, lubricants, but also we will face new segments, new customers. First of all, B2C customers, and we will invest to diversification line, all types of protocols for new products for new mobilities, like bike airlines or MTK airlines. We will continue to invest in innovation and in our partnerships with industry segments, and we will open completely new businesses that will be everything but not oils. And we already are starting few startups, few pilots of our ecosystem. We call it Power Sport ecosystem for B2C motorcycle customers, where we will sell everything which is not oil, lifestyle apparel, services, experiences. You can find the bike of your choice in country of your location, now in our web hub of Motul. So clearly, transformation plays an essential role, as well as personalization for all type of customers that we have. And in our transformation, we are shifting from SAP product centricity that Motul was to customer centricity. And first 3 pillars of segments that we have are B2B, internal client, and B2C segment. And for B2B segment, within our transformation, we are revamping fully our B2B platform based on Intershop. For B2C, we are building this new web hub to propose new services to our B2C clients. And for employee, we are building up new CRM based on Microsoft Dynamics, as well as data lake, data platform with self-service BI. So what is our B2B platform? Before this transformation, our B2B platform was functional. It served its role for big clients, for distributors, for importers, and it was purely transactional without any content, just to facilitate order to cash journey. So clearly the strategy now is to personalize this experience, to onboard more customers to platform, all types of customers, even small ones like garages. So in this year, we revamped platform and built completely new cloud platform, responsive, and improved the architecture, meaning we added a new search engine, which is Sparque. we build up this architecture alongside with our data platform. So now we track data and NPS of our customers, and we already worked on few use cases for personalization. But clearly, this is the start, and our target for next years would be to build up the flagship store that will help our customers to provide self-service in case they need, but also personalize their experience. What do we plan and how do we plan to do that? So as I explained, we worked on architecture project this year. So we revamped platform, we updated to new Intershop and version. Now it's in cloud, it's in Azure, and it's now connected to SAP and CRM. We also set up Google Analytics in backend data to follow user journeys and behavior of our customers. Before this architecture project, we only had SAP data of transactions. And we also set up Hotjar to follow really behavior, what customers do, and to survey them and find what is NPS of our customers. As well, this project was benefiting from data platform project, a data lab project that we just finalized. And now we are able to track real-time all strategic KPIs. And this is really the first step in personalization. And our key KPIs now that we have, and we produced a couple of dashboards for that, are orders and turnover, clearly, some standard e-commerce KPIs for funnels and conversion. NPS is a completely new KPI that we never followed before. And of course, technical KPI, we now monitor the stability and performance of platform. NPS journey was very interesting. Before this project, we only heard from few general managers from the various countries, some complaints that platform is not stable, or this distributor was complaining that he didn't find some products or didn't find some proposal. So now we have a full scope of NPS answers, and as well we are surveying our customers on a regular basis. What was interesting is that platform in general was assessed quite well. It's 26 by now, more or less, with average score of 7 out of 10. But we found out that in some markets, especially in Germany, NPS was negative. So that gave us an interesting exercise to deep dive in answers and find out what could cause these differences with the VS average normal in general and negative in Germany. So what we found out is that in Germany, we have the biggest share of small customers, of garages, versus all other markets, while in markets where we have big distributors and importers, platform was assessed relatively well. And then it gave us also the motivation to find out who was answering, to link user IDs with real customer names and produce user interviews to find out the root cause of these negative reviews. So based on our few interviews with key users and customers, we realized that, and this is also interesting, that they are unhappy with availability, which is sometimes not the reason of the platform performance, but still, we were thinking of a few quick wins on how to improve visibility and transparency for them. And they complained about search in general and recommendation of the products. So what we decided to do as a really first quick win is to cross-sell on the product description page and also to give transparency and visibility of product availability. We did this cross-sell as well as Isero with the help of Sparque, search engine based on history and based on customer segment, as well on strategic goals to push certain products. And we are pushing our diversification products, so not only oil. And in back in stock and supply chain issue, what we did, we realized we calculated few KPIs to give transparency on what is usually available and when, so theoretical data availability if product is out of stock. And we are realizing now the back in stock notification possibility on our platform. At the same time, we are focusing now on working on product catalogs for customers, since these small customers were complaining a lot about either lack of some products for them or products that were not really relevant. And we will follow, of course, after the test results with the dashboards. What was our finding based on first conversion results of this cross-sell is that on product description page, it was not really successful, to be honest. So that's why we will now realize product recommendation on home page and also in the cart. At the same time, we are working with the team to set up product recommendation of oil advisor that we do now for B2C, and we will copy paste this recommendation to B2B so that our customers will have complete journey around recommendation that they were complaining before. At the same time, we are ready with our customer data platform project, and we will start clearly segmenting our customers and having 360 views and pushing next best offers with some personalized promotions and also newsletters that could be various depending on customer segment. Then in our roadmap, we are planning to work on a few use cases for content and how to diversify content depending on geolocalization, segment, and history of customers. And we plan to introduce self-service claim management for our customers, which is a new model of Intershop, and also 360 view of the data. We just realized this first use case in CRM, and now this data is available, is giving the full transparency of our customers because we are connecting various sources, not only SAP, but also B2B, CRM, and everything that is happening around customer. So our goal is to provide the same view for our clients. So when they are on platform, they have full information and they don't need to call our customer service to have these details. What we have learned based on this journey. Once again, as I mentioned, we were blocked to provide any experience or personalization before we rethink our enterprise and data architecture. Data is key, and now we are able to really follow the 360 view of a client, their behavior, and its full funnel to improve its experience. At the same time, what is important is to involve our business users and build a strong governance around that. We are having these 14 various channels across the world, and sometimes it's completely impossible to talk to customers unless we really integrate key users, explain them the purpose of personalization, and build strong governance, educate them on how to use data, how to use NPS, what is it, what can be the feedback loop, and how can we improve, what is even possible. So this use case was realized with our key user from Germany. Clearly, I don't speak German, so he was helping and managing this himself. Tests and feedback loop is essential. We were working in completely waterfall project management mode before, and right now we are switching to this agile methodology, and with every sprint, we see the result and we see the feedback of customers as well as data. What was interesting, at least to me, I went through all answers of our clients, and as I mentioned, there were various answers, even comments about supplying and pricing policy of Motul. But what was the pattern in these answers is that they all were complaining, if they were complaining, about speed and search. So don't underestimate this, and right now we are working in improving architecture to provide even faster page upload, and at the same time to facilitate catalog management and navigation in the search as well as product recommendation. Last but not least, content matters. My personal experience with backend is that you can always train your users. However, unless you achieve the synergy, it's quite difficult to educate key users to maintain content regularly unless you have dedicated team in B2B. What we plan to do in Motul, we plan to merge CMS that we use for B2C for our various websites and merge and make the synergy of efforts of marketing departments globally to reuse content that we do and we have in B2C and spread it out in B2B as well, of course, with personalization and with a strategy around our customer segments. I think that's it. By now, we are in the beginning of the journey. We are confident about this roadmap and excited as well. This is clearly a challenge, and let me know if you have some questions.
Well, thank you so much, Julia, for your presentation. There were no questions until now in the chat, but maybe if there are any questions or they pop up within some 10 to 5 minutes. Oh, I think there is one question, actually. Can we do a question? Yeah. All right. So I see a question in the chat. How has your platform influenced the human interactions within Motul? Specifically, have you noticed a reduction, such change in interactions between clients and employees? Or did you notice a difference in employee motivation or production? Quite a long question, but...
Well, thanks for this question, first of all. Yeah, well, I will answer from your. I will answer your last question. Did we notice the change in users' behavior? I think it's a win-win, and I'm quite happy now that platform gain its trust. Now it's stable, and that was my first target. And then what I see now, key users are coming to me. For instance, last month, all Mexican team was trained, and they continue to raise questions about training, about platform itself. Of course, they are interested to use it. It gives them some time to breathe and to focus on sales, not on service of client, not on putting manually orders to SAP. So this is really a win-win, and I'm happy to see this engagement of users. Um, and you mentioned if I notice change of customer behavior and interactions with the platform. Well, too early probably to say something. I guess this is now the sanity check to have the working platform for them. So it's norm, rather norm that than change of pattern that we revolutionize in Motul. Um, what my North Star and my dream is that all operational stuff after and self-service as well will be completed by platform, while our sales, our marketing people will educate more our customers about product, about services, and invest in relations rather than some transactional and operational stuff. I don't think it will um, reduce interactions, but probably even more. It will improve the communication to some more exciting aspects.
All right, thank you so much, Julianne, and I hope it answers your question. Tyrone says, thank you for answering and for your brilliant presentation. I think I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your presentation, Julia. And I think until now what our guest speakers have shown us is how they really took on the process of personalization. So Wunderman Thompson told us how to deliver a personalized experience and what type of strategies and methods you can use for that, while Isero and Motul made it more practical and really have shown us what they are doing until now on the topic of personalization, but also what their future goals are for it. And I think if I'm hearing everyone's presentation, the real red line through it is data and technology. So what technology to use, how to use your technology, and what data you need to really personalize the process for your customers. And that's why I also want to pass the floor to Chia and Julia, who are going to tell us a bit more about how technology can be used to personalize the experience for your customers. You have to turn on your microphone, Chi. We can't hear you.
I think that's helpful. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, so a lot is happening in the technology field, of course, and what is important is that it works seamlessly together with the organizational objectives and its ambition to grow and to innovate. So there are a couple of things that, in particular in the deep dive on Thursday, that we'd like to get into is understanding what kind of interaction is being sought with the user. Julia will give us a more comprehensive overview of that. In particular, a topic that that is too close to my heart is about context. So, hey, what kind of business are you running, and how do you make sure that the type of interaction that you're looking for with your user or customer and the type of data that you have, how can you make sure that you provide the most relevant output? How do you interact with your customer in terms of, hey, what kind of product or what kind of content do you serve? What is most relevant to that user? And of course, we will discuss a lot about how to use the data for it. What do you already have? What may you potentially not have, but is easy to get so that you can get on your way for personalization.
So we have heard today a couple of examples of what can be personalized. For example, from Motul and Isero, the examples of delivering different types of assortments, customer catalogs to different segments, to different customers. But also our colleague from Wunderman Thompson had also went a bit deeper on the topic of content personalization and how it can work and how we can develop their different strategies. But I would like to also highlight a bit what other aspects of personalization are available in the online store and what can we personalize. And again, let's start with assortments. It's in the B2B area, it's quite common that we deliver different types of catalogs and products to different customers, but there is also a possibility and actually a good personalization option when one product will display different type of information, maybe different images, different types of descriptions to different customer segments. And we have also examples of customers of Intershop who are doing this. Next aspect is, again, really common to B2B, different types of prices and contracts. This is also a part of personalization, delivering different types of price lists to different customer segments. But those price lists are quite often connected to contracts. And why not display the conditions of those contracts to your customers? Maybe when is the start date? When is an end date? What are the conditions? Maybe it's based on revenue or volumina. It will all help to personalize the customer experience. Next topic is a targeted content and documents. Of course, we want to deliver specific content to specific customer segments or particular customers, and this is where Contentful can come in handy, delivering this content, and then we can personalize this content with the help of a third-party tool or Intershop. Next topic is the promotions and campaigns. I guess I cannot emphasize this topic too much. Creating a personalized promotions for different customers, for different customer segments, delivering those teasers and content associated with those promotions can really enhance and personalize an experience for our customers. Then when we're talking about B2B, they usually come not just with one account, but with a really big hierarchical structure with multiple users, with multiple roles and budgets, and maybe some order spend limits or different types of cost centers that they want to see in your platform and that they want to also be able to navigate through and have it all displayed to them and being able to manage all that. This is also one of the most important parts of personalization in B2B, and being able to deliver it is as well quite important. And this is also where Intershop can come in handy. Next thing is, and people quite often forget about it, that it's also a huge part of personalization, are different payment and shipping options, and also different types of payment conditions and shipping conditions delivered to different customers or customer segments. Maybe you have some customers who have proven their loyalty, who you know that they are trustworthy. Maybe you want to offer them a different shipping method or payment method where they can pay later because you know there have been no excesses and everything went quite smoothly before. Then, similar to products and catalogs, we would like to offer the services which are relevant to a customer. For example, if someone is has purchased a washing machine, we would like to deliver them services connected to this washing machine, and maybe a maintenance service for a fridge will be less of a relevant in that case. And last but not least, and actually one of the also the most important topics, this is search and merchandising. And I guess this is where the Sparque comes in handy and can help us deliver to customers completely and highly personalized search experience and deliver right products to right customer segments and to right customer in particular. However, behind all of those aspects is a big topic of data and how to handle it, how to work with it. And then my colleague Chi will say a couple of words regarding this.
Yeah, so thank you, Julia. So when we talk about personalization, so it touches on a awful lot of various touch points, types of applications. I love the term Melanie-centric that was used earlier. So putting the customer in the middle and making sure that you create the experience around it. Now, one other thing that needs to be done, though, is to make sure that you look at the data in the correct way. And even though simplistically, of course, we all understand that, or we have data and we use it, but how do we use the data in such a way that it takes the correct context into account. So for an example, if you're a business that does repeat business or not repeat business, if you're a supermarket or if you're a fashion retailer, the context is completely different. People will either be really interested in repurchasing the same items or not at all interested in repurchasing the same items. But all of this, ultimately, you have to express in an algorithm and bring that to that user via an application, via a function. So this is definitely one of the things that we're going to get deeper into on Thursday. In fact, there are 3 specific topics that we're going to touch on. And the first one will be done by Julia. Let's see if this works. Would you like to talk a little bit more about the customer portal? No, that was one.
Yes, sure. So in our deep dive on Thursday, we will have a look on the personalized customer portal and what it is, what information is needed, and how this information can be delivered, how the data can come in handy, and how can we use this data and display this data to different types of personas which are active in our customer portal and or an online shop. And I will also give one great example of customer of Intershop who has implemented such a personalized customer portal and has integrated IoT data for the install base for their customers.
And another use case that we're going to get into is personalized search. For an example, if you are a retailer and brand recognition and brand preference is really important, how do you work with that? How do you make sure that we take the data into account to present to users their favorite products, their favorite brands at the right place and the right time? Related to that, we heard already some examples from Isero and from Motul. How do you do personalized recommendations? This is one of another example of a customer where seasonality, for example, and their repurchase need plays a big role. And what we're going to do Thursday is not just discussing the use case, but really also get into the nitty-gritty of how doing this. So that you can go away with the idea of, oh, okay, can I do this? Do I have the right use case? Do I have the right data? So that it can become actionable quite quickly. So that's the end of this part and our pitch for the deep dive of Thursday.
Thank you, Chi and Julia. I really encourage everybody to join the deep dive and to understand the technology behind all this this personalization. What I would like to talk about is another aspect. It is slightly touched upon in the previous presentations. But actually, what you see is that 30% of the effort is in the technology and the data. And I guess, and that's what she explained and what Sparque is doing, is that this personalization, from a technical perspective, it requires work, but it's doable. Technology is developing itself in such a fast pace that it becomes possible. That 20% of data that you have to aggregate and have to make available, that is also hard work, but can be done. The real effort, and especially if you raise the bar, if it's not about just personalization in the simple way, but if it is about using the technology that comes available with ChatGPT, if you look at what in the video of Working Co, how the total effort and the total experience for customers will change using all this this technology, that requires something else. That requires that you overcome the silo structure. not by changing it, not by trying to remove the barriers between the silos, but by creating a different kind of working where you get centered around this customer, all the departments involved in developing content, in developing business rules, in aggregating their knowledge about what customers expect and how you can best serve them, and together build holistic experiences, holistic customer interactions that can become diverse gradually and even more granular than we now possibly take for possible. This is what is needed to create those truly customer-centric experiences. And all of you together in this session, if you start doing such a project, you have to inspire your organization, you have to show the examples and to really raise the bar, go beyond that what is currently possible, but imagine where you want to be in 3 to 5 years. And it was also mentioned by Motul, it is getting your stakeholders involved. Coach your organization to really become involved, and then start designing step by step and based upon a clear understanding on where you want to go. In the beginning of the presentation, I showed that this is the moment where you can really raise not only your bar, but also can make major steps forward. The technology is there, the data can be aggregated. It is about freeing your imagination, freeing the ingenuity of your organization to really build individual customer interactions and to be a leader in that field and not a follower anymore. Thank you very much. We enjoyed this session very much. We hope you did too. And I would like to give back to Jill for the last words.
Well, thank you so much again, Arjen. And I think I couldn't agree more with what you said about the session. It was a great session, and really thanks again for all the guest speakers for their interesting presentation. So Wunderman Thompson, Contentful, Isero, Motul, Intershop, and Arjen. There were a lot of them. I think it was very interesting to hear all your stories about personalization, and that also marks the end of today's session. So as said before, there will be an Intershop deep dive this Thursday, which I would really recommend visiting. And next to that, we have another session planned on the 7th of November, where we're going to be talking about holistic ways to improve user experiences and business performance. So if you haven't done so, really sign up for the next session. And we also have a SharePoint environment where you can find all information about the sessions, news related to the sessions, and start a discussion with your fellow peers of the B2B Frontrunners community. So with that, thanks a lot for visiting and engaging and listening to everyone, and have a good day.